A reading from the Holy Gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ according to St. Matthew. Seeing the crowds, Jesus went up on the mountain, and when he sat down, his disciples came to him. And he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, You have heard that it was said to the men of old, You shall not kill, and whoever kills shall be liable to judgment. But I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother shall be liable to judgment. Whoever insults his brother shall be liable to the council. And whoever says, You fool, shall be liable to the hell of fire. So, if you are offering your gift on the altar, and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your gift there before the altar, and go. First, be reconciled to your brother, and then come and offer your gift. Make friends quickly with your accuser, while you are going with him to court, lest your accuser hand you over to the judge, and the judge to the guard, and you be put in prison. Truly I say to you, you will never get out till you have paid the last penny. Ushuha la la minaif.
Shuha la mishirhaman.
There's a lot of different reasons why it's dangerous to think of the Christian religion as one of legality, of laws. So if we think of the faith only as, there are definitely rules, everybody knows that there's rules. But if we think of the faith only as just following rules, well, one of the dangers that can come from that is we can just kind of fall into despair. We can say, well, I'll never be able to follow those rules, so I should just give up. And when you give up, that means you're sort of just forgetting about God. You're letting God not be a part of your life anymore. But I think there's an opposite danger that's even worse. The opposite danger is this, is when you do follow the rules, that's when things can get dangerous, because then you can feel in your heart, I've checked off all of the boxes and I'm good. And I don't need to do anything more. That's another way to cut God out of your life, because at that point you don't need God anymore. And so there's a kind of balance that needs to sort of remain there at all times of I'm going to do my best, but a constant awareness that by my own power I will always fail. And that deep awareness of failure is one of the things, the very deep things that drives us constantly to rely on God and His strength and His grace and the sacraments. And so here, Jesus is making, I think, a kind of clarification about that. You shall not kill. Jesus said that was the rule. You shall not kill. Well, that's a pretty easy thing to check off. I love it all the time. And you guys probably have heard this too. You're a religious person. You guys go to church. You're here on a Friday. It's not even a Sunday. So you'll talk to somebody who's not that religious, and they'll say, you know what, I'm a good person. I never killed anybody. Right? You ever hear that? That's the easiest box in the world to check off, man. That's a really low bar. And if you think just because you've checked that box off, you don't need God, you don't need to be close to Him, my gosh, it's a mess. And Jesus says, that was the law. Well, He's not saying you're allowed to kill people. He's saying the opposite. He's saying now, everyone who is angry with his brother is angry, present tense, shall be liable to judgment. He makes the rule so strict that it's basically impossible to obey perfectly without God's help. Whoever insults his brother shall be liable to the council. Whoever says, you fool, shall be liable to the hell of fire. We've said a lot worse than that. You probably said that worse than that about me, in some cases. And if we just say something as simple as that, you will be liable to hell, the hell of fire. So if you think that you are righteous, if you really believe that you're better than anybody else, God help you. You're on your way to hell. That's what Jesus is warning us against. And so what does He do? What immediately happens in this gospel passage is it turns from legalism to sacramental life. Because it goes from, here are the rules, but then He immediately says, if you're offering your gift on the altar, so So now it becomes about the altar. And there remember that your brother has something against you. Leave your gift there before the altar and go. We do this in the Chaldean Mass. The priest when he brings the bread and wine to the altar, before he offers the offering, he leaves. And he comes here and he's reconciled. In faith, he says the creed, and then he says Shlama Amchon, and in the sign of peace. And then he returns and offers. We're just taking this command and putting it into the liturgy. It's beautiful that we do that. But the important note here is this. If you're offering your gift at the altar, and there remember that your brother has something against you, not that you have something against him. It's not that you did something wrong. It's that there's a misunderstanding. No, forget about the gift. If you haven't made an attempt at reconciliation, if you haven't gone above and beyond, forget about it. Leave it, go, be reconciled, and then with a clean heart, with a heart with love, not self-righteousness, then you're allowed to offer the gift on the altar. That's why we're here, brothers and sisters, and as we continue the Mass, we will be reconciled to each other in faith and in love through the creed and through the sign of peace. And then I think with a clean heart and with a heart of humility and love, we can offer the offering.